Okay, so if you have some flour, water, sourdough starter, and some pink salt, then jump right in. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make sourdough ciabatta. Don't worry, it's easy. In fact, here's one fail-proof, easy sourdough ciabatta bread recipe coming right up. Hey, if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Lynette and I'm a content creator for all things relating to health, beauty and lifestyle, because no matter which way I see it, beauty starts from within. From the foods we eat to the thoughts we think, and you better believe it, we have it in us, you have it in you to be beautiful and healthy naturally. So if that's something that resonates with you, definitely consider subscribing and smashing the bell so you'll always be tuned in to my weekly videos. And by the way, show notes and other details will be down in the description box below, so do check them out when you can. By the way, I'm making this video because my sister thought that the ciabatta was a variation of the chapati, which is a staple in the Indian subcontinent. While she's not entirely wrong ingredients-wise, I thought it would be good to just clarify, especially since the ciabatta is clearly one of the world's favorite foods. It's definitely one of our favorite sandwich breads. So the magic here is really to slip in some sourdough starter to increase its digestibility, and ta-da! You get this scrumptious sourdough ciabatta bread. Another way I thought I could explain what ciabatta is to compare it with the baguette, which I'll talk about in another video, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But here's how I think about it. To me, the ciabatta is to the Italians what the baguette is to the French. So while the baguette is longish and pointy, the ciabatta, which is made with the same 4 basic ingredients, usually comes in a somewhat flattish kind of rectangular parcel. Both are nice and chewy, great as sandwich breads, and good with soups and curries, especially if you have an Asian palate. And stay right through to the end with me if you want to learn a trick or two to getting the perfect loaf of sourdough ciabatta bread. Meanwhile, let's get started. First, let's measure out 185 grams of bread flour. Then measure out 50 grams of sourdough starter. After that, add 4 grams of pink salt and then add 143 grams of ice cold water. Mix all 4 ingredients together until it becomes a nice shaggy dough. Just make sure that when you finish mixing, the final dough temperature is well under 26 degrees Celsius. If not, you can always pop it in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and cover it and set the timer for half an hour. After 30 minutes, stretch and fold it like so. Cover, then set the timer for a further 30 minutes. Stretch and fold it a second time and a third, especially if you feel that the dough is still feeling somewhat slack. Well, I'm just going to stop at 2 stretch and folds, then I'm going to shape it. And leave it in a perforated loaf pan, and then I'm popping it in the fridge until I'm ready to go to bed. But I try not to move my dough too much or transfer it here and there because I'm not nearly as gentle as I should be, so somehow during the transfer I always end up degassing my dough. Anyway, I'll list the perforated loaf pan I'm using in the description box below, so check it out when you can. Then when I'm finally ready to hit the sack, what I'm going to do is bring it with me into the air-conditioned bedroom where it's a constant 24 degrees Celsius and let it sit on my dresser until the next morning. That's usually what I do, and I explain why in some of my earlier videos, so just click or tap right there. It's now 7 the next morning and my dough has doubled. It feels nice and jiggly, very much like a water balloon. And I'm popping it in the fridge to slow down the fermentation process while I preheat the oven at 250 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes or so, depending on the make and model of your oven. Once the internal temperature of the oven hits about 220 degrees Celsius, and here's the magic. Now I know that it's a high hydration dough, but I'm spraying some water to give it a tad more oven spring before sprinkling it with a little more flour to give it its characteristic ciabatta look and feel. Then bake the ciabatta for 25 to 30 minutes or until you get this nice crusty golden brown all over. I love how the dough pulls away from the perforated loaf pan and just perks up and makes this nice little neat pastel. And truth be told, I much prefer this to the rustic looking sourdough ciabatta bread any day. I don't know, I just think it's easier to arrange my favorite toppings on a regular shaped sandwich loaf. And that's my secret. That's exactly how I get the perfect looking sourdough ciabatta loaf every time. Now, if you got value out of this video, do hit the like button and definitely consider subscribing and tapping the bell for future videos just like this one. And let me tell you what else is cooking. I'm going to show you how to make mini sourdough baguettes in another video. Yes, you heard right. We'll make cute little mini sourdough baguettes the next time. So I'll see you really soon. Meanwhile, you have a beautiful day. Love, Lynette Tan.